So what happened in this actual incident where the guy lost his life?
It was a robbery. You know what I'm saying? They demanded the money. I left up out there. They was arguing, left up out there, pulled the trigger. Later on, that person died. They didn't even have us locked up for the crime. They had somebody else locked up for the crime like months later. He got scared or whatever. He felt like his name had came up. He went to the people and told the people that it wasn't the people that was locked up. It was him and me. Then he put all the blame on me. You know what I'm saying? I ended up getting 2 life sentences, 115 years.
And so you didn't even pull the trigger?
No.
Wow, you just were with him? And
I was with him.
But you weren't even like physically there?
I was physically there, but when the altercation occurred, I left because there was too much conversation going on instead of, taking the money leave. It was too much conversation going on. So I left. He ended up getting nervous or whatever happened, transaction between them, and he pulled the trigger, he left up out.
Right.
Months later, like I say, they got somebody else locked up for the crime. He turns himself in, he implicates me, they come pick me up. He testified against me. He said he was there. He didn't pull the trigger. I did. Being he's cooperating. I tell him I don't know nothing. I wasn't there. I stuck to my story. They felt like I was trying to be hard. 2 life sentences, 115
So you didn't
years.
tell on yourself at all, which is a lot of times that's the thing that young people do when they get caught up is they just start talking and they fucking air themselves out.
Yeah,
make it easy on
They
them.
threatened me with everything. I told them, they told me you gonna get the lecture chair. I told them I don't know nothing. I didn't do it. And that was what I stuck to. So in their eyes, I'm being hard, So boom, they lit me up.
Did you get a lawyer? Or did you have a public defender?
I had a lawyer and a public defender. Both of them probably together was worth 5 cents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't do nothing. They lied to me. When I actually did get the time, I ended up having to take a plea bargain because at the time that I was going to trial, Virginia was implementing a new law. And it was called a 3-strike law.
Right.
And they were saying if you had 3 charges of the same caliber, then you would be not eligible for parole, no matter how much time you got. So if you had 90 years, you ain't eligible for parole. You had to do 85% of that. So, I had already went to trial for the murder. They had already gave me 105 years. So now I'm going to trial for the robbery. So it's more, they charge you with more than 1 robbery. So if I get convicted of either one of them, I already got 100-some years, I never get out of prison.
Holy shit.
So I ended up having to take the plea bargain to get out of prison. And the plea bargain was the 2 life sentence. But they was telling me, this is what the lawyer told me, it will all encompass itself. And in Virginia, anything over 45 years, if you got anything over 45 years, you go up for parole in 12 years anyway. You're parole eligible. He was saying it's your first time, you've never been in trouble. You go in, you keep your nose clean, man, you'll make first parole. Go ahead and take the plea bargain, it's the best thing for you. If not, you're going to end up getting no parole. Crazy. I took the plea bargain, listened to him, took advice from my lawyer. I never even went up for parole, number 1, for 18 years, so that was a lie.
Okay.
First time I ever went up was 18 years. Second thing is, 30-some years later, they just finding out that Virginia misapplied the law. The law was not even intended to be that way. The law was if you get 3 felonies and you go to prison for a felony and you come out, you get enough, you go to prison 3 times. They was applying it for all of these years that if you had 3 charges, you had 3 robbery charges, they was giving you that putting you up under that law. So you got dudes that's getting out of prison now that's been in there for 20, 25 years plus under a fake law.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in essence, I took the plea bargain for something that didn't even exist.
So you thought you were about to do 12 years?
I thought I was about to do 12 years.
As an 18-year-old, was it approximately 18?
20. I had just turned 20, yeah.
12 years sounds like a fucking eternity because you can't imagine being 32, right?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth because that's what I was saying to myself. I said, man, I'm 12 years, man. I'll be 30-something. I'll be old as I don't know what.
But they still convinced you to take it?
They still convinced me to take it. They said, well, you would rather have that or never get out at all.
Wow.
So, you looking at that and you it's really no choice. You see what I'm saying? Your back is against the wall. So
right.
I took it. I didn't go up for parole for 18 years and didn't make it till after I did 33.
How would you describe the way that your mind felt or how you were dealing with it as a 20-year-old, as you're starting to make this realization that I'm going to have to do probably at least 12 years?
To be honest with you, man, I couldn't even process it. I couldn't even process it. And then whatever you trying to process, once you get on the inside, then you have to even get that out of your mind because now you got to think about surviving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you get in there and actually see what's really going on, how it's going on, the way the system is being ran, you know, you got to focus now on surviving. You know what I'm saying? To get to 12 years, you know, because like I said, you may not even get to 12 years.
How long were you sitting in jail before you have to go out to prison?
I was in jail probably over a year and a half.
Okay, and compare that environment to once you go to actual prison.
Like kindergarten and college.
Really?
Yeah, it's kindergarten and college.
So in jail, you didn't feel like you were in much danger. It was pretty laid back.
At jail, I did a lot of fighting in jail, fist fighting, which was cool with me. You know what I'm saying? I can fight.
Right.
So I was good with that. But in prison, once you get to prison, you know, they using that Bethlehem, man. They using that knife. You know, you got dudes in there ain't never getting out. You got dudes that already, when you get there, when I got there, you got dudes that's already been there 20 years, 25 years.
And you're in the
years.
state prison or is this federal?
Yeah, it's state prison.
Okay.
Yeah, you got dudes ain't never getting out, so that's how they living in there.
So you get into this environment and like, what was your first day like? Like, how do you get introduced to what this is going to be like?
The first day I can remember, first I went to receiving. So receiving was, you know, it's kind of okay, but you know what I'm saying, it's not really prison. It's prison, but it's like receiving is right here. The prison, if you get, once you go through receiving and get processed, they're gonna assign you to a prison. The receiving I went to was Southampton. Prison is right beside the Southampton Farm, which, you know, they call that gladiator school. But I could have got assigned there, but I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I first went there, I was going through receiving. I ended up getting in an altercation and receiving off some that ain't had nothing to do with me. You know, dude was picking with a dude in the line, was going out for wreck, you know, throwing stuff at him. He turned around, he swung on me. I beat him up. You know, they locked me up, cut my receiving short, sent me to the wall. And in Virginia, the wall is the oldest, they tore it down there, was the oldest prison in the state of Virginia, the most notorious prison in the state of Virginia. I ain't never been to prison. They done cut my receiving short, know nothing about prison. They sent me straight to the wall. You know, so I get up in there. When I walk up in there, I knew what it was when I walked in there off the top. You know, they cat calling and whistling. It's like 7 of us walking in. It's like, if you ever seen Shawshank Redemption, how it's just all bars and the tears and the tears.
Yeah.
It looks just like that.
Wow.
And I walk up in there and, like I say, I knew what it was. I could feel the, you know, chill bumps getting on me because everybody hollering. I'm just walking, you know, with a stone face like, man, they better not be whistling at me. You know, that's what I'm thinking. But
Right.
yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. So, okay, once you're in that environment, like a lot of times we hear in LA at least that like when you're in the county jail, that it's very much still based on what neighborhood you're from, what gang you're associated with, and then you go to prison and it just kind of breaks down to like racial lines. Like all the black dudes who are normally at war in the streets are just black guys once they get to prison. Is that how it worked out there as well?
No, that ain't how it work out there. Later on in my bit, you know, later further down, it got into the gang stuff. It wasn't even no gangs in prison when I first went in there. It wasn't like the Bloods, the Crips, the GD. That didn't even exist.
Okay.
But you had neighborhoods up there that stuck together. Like you say, you got Tidewater, you got Richmond, you know, you got DC, you got, you know, Northern Virginia, you know, like that. They stuck together. But for the most part, though, a lot of them dudes may be in-house beefing too. They may beef with each other.
Really?
You see, yeah, they may beef with each other. But the thing about it was they would beef with each other, but if you had a beef with one of them, then all of them coming at you. You see what I'm saying? And at that time, Richmond is like, that's one of the biggest places in Virginia. They had the, I would say they had the biggest mob. They had the biggest. You probably weren't gonna fight one of them.
Wow.
You gonna fight at least 7, 8, 10 of them.
So from the beginning, do you have to start figuring out like who you're down with, who's going to protect you, who's going to have your back if shit starts going crazy?
I mean, some dudes do that. I didn't do it because, like I say, I'm really out of towner. I don't know nobody. I definitely don't trust nobody. I just, once I got the lay of the land and seeing how things was, and then I'm starting to hear about, you know, this time I got, man, you know, you got life sentences and stuff, da-da-da. So I'm listening to all this and I'm creating my own philosophy in my head of what's going down. Now, to be honest with you, I ain't even never think I'd make it to get out of prison. Once I seen how it was going down in there.
It was that bad. You're like, I'm probably not going to make it out of here.
Yeah, I already knew that if somebody came at me in a certain way, I was going to either take their life or they was going to have to take mine.
Right.
So that's the philosophy that I created in my head. I'm not going to be robbed. I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I'm not going to be disrespected. Any of that come to me, I'm handling it emphatically. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm going to move first, and I'm going to move to do whatever got to be done.
Did you need to have that attitude? Because if you go into that environment, like, I'm not going to commit any violent acts. I'm going to keep my nose clean. I'm just in here to do my time, does that just make you an automatic mark to some of these predators in there?
That's an impossibility.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. I don't care who you are. I've seen the most meek people in there. I've seen Muslims that don't bother nobody. I've seen Christians that don't bother nobody. I've seen older people. You will be a victim, period. It's just because they're going to feed on the weak. You know, he goes to church, or he stays in his cell, he don't bother nobody. Nothing. Man, somebody will come ask you, well, do we get commissary? Man, let me get some of that commissary. You know, then you give them some, then they want some more. You know, then you get $50 worth of commissary every week. Now they want 40 of it. Yeah, you can keep 10. You know, it's coming at you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to set your mark. And then the thing about it is a double-edged sword. Because if you defend yourself, and let's say you defend yourself to the fullest, and you're victorious, okay, you're going to pay for that too. You see what I'm saying? You're going to back your time up. You're going to go do time in the hole, all of that. You know, and then you're going to have enemies when you come out. You know, but the alternative is to be, you know, whatever they want you to be.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, guys, we want to thank you so much for getting us to 100,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. If you want to support, please click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 200K. Thank you. Thank you so much.